Let's talk about underdog fantasy. The NFL season is almost done. The Super Bowl is today, but that doesn't mean you can't get in on the action. There are some great pick'em lines still for the Super Bowl. Or if you want to look ahead for the 2022 fantasy season, Underdog Fantasy has the big board pre-NFL draft best ball tournament available, and you can win cash prizes through their slick mobile app and user-friendly site. You can join a league and draft a team in minutes. Plus, the folks at Underdog are going to help you get started with a deposit match of up to $100 in bonus cash when you sign up and make your first deposit with the promo code FFF. So just visit UnderdogFantasy.com, the App Store or the Google Play Store. Sign up with the code FFF, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code FFF.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Fanalists Podcast, powered by UnderDog Fantasy and presented by Fantasy Data, home to some of the industry's most accurate rankings.
And welcome in to another episode of the Fantasy Football Fanalist Podcast, powered by Underdog Fantasy, presented by Fantasy Data. I'm here today, Bradley Stalder at FF Stalder. This is going to drop on the day of the Super Bowl, so hopefully you're either watching before the Super Bowl or we're all celebrating afterwards. It's going to be a lot of fun today, but what's on my mind right now is getting in another best ball draft. So we're going to actually jump on into the big board. And Billy and I have done a few of these drafts, gotten our feet wet a little bit more. And hopefully it's almost midnight, East Coast time, the Super Bowl Eve. Who knows who we're going to run into in these drafts at this time, at this hour. It's going to be a lot of fun. The big board draft, if you're unfamiliar with it, is a pre-NFL draft. So we don't know where the rookies are, but they are part of the player pool. Right now, it's over 40% filled. We're going to enter into a 30 seconds per pick. I'm also going to, as we go through the draft, oh, yes. I do want to record that. Okay. So we're just getting the new Mac all set up. Here we go. Later. Okay, excellent. So we can record the Underdog lobby, share. Okay. And so we're going to join one person's screen. And I'm going to take off my overlay. There we go. So as you can tell, 30-second pick, we're going to enter on into the best ball streets here. Over 11,000 entrants, max capacity 28,000 entering. Yes, I would like to. And not right now. We're joined and we're going to wait for three people here. Billy and I will usually look at some ADP trends, and looking at the first player in the queue for ADP, Jonathan Taylor, 1.3. He seems to be the consensus, and I have a couple shares of Jonathan Taylor, but I haven't seen him fall outside of the first two picks in any of the drafts. So it seems still pretty consensus that Taylor is 1, Christian McCaffrey at 2, Cooper Kupp at 3, and Derrick Henry at the 4 spot, Austin Eckler at 5. And I also want to, I'm going to look at some of the Underdog Fantasy, the drafts I've completed so far. So there are a few players that I have exposure to so far that I'm a little higher on. Chase Edmonds, I have in 3 of my 8 drafts so far. David Njoku, I have in 3 of my 8 drafts so far. Same with Noah Fant and Miles Sanders. No other player I have more than 25% of my draft so far, but I think I'm going to start just going with the players that I want to instead of trying to balance it out. There have been a few drafts so far this year or in the last few weeks, where I have chosen players based on um, not my feelings on them, but if anything, I don't want to draft them. And I've actually messaged Billy and I've said, this is a team that I would never draft if I really wanted to. And he said, well, that team still looks pretty good. So you can't really go wrong based on, as long as you stick to your ADP and you choose some players that have upside and not a lot of risk as well at the beginning of your drafts. That's something that Billy and I will continue to harp on in advice as we go throughout these drafts in the off season. Just there's so much unknown about the players here that we're drafting. There's as we look into ADP into the second round, we don't know what's going to happen with Javonte Williams if Melvin Gordon's going to re-sign. Also, don't know what's going to happen, with Alvin Kamara's situation. He's now dropped pretty significantly from where he was going. He was going at the end of the first round, and no, he's going at pick 21. We're uncertain of his situation as well. Those are, I think, the 2 biggest question marks in the first round based on the first 2 rounds based on I've been seeing and what the news has been so far. We are now still waiting for 3 people. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Calvin Ridley. There are reports that he may want to be traded and that the Falcons, Arthur Blank came out and said that he wants Calvin Ridley back, but it is going to come down to whether Calvin Ridley wants to be back in Atlanta. I also don't think that the Atlanta Falcons are going to move on from Matt Ryan. It just doesn't make sense for what they wanted to do last year. They had an opportunity to do that and draft a quarterback or go after, a young asset. And instead they wanted to develop Kyle Pitts. So I wouldn't be surprised if they really do try to keep Calvin Ridley around. I mean, looking at that division, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers don't have a quarterback. The New Orleans Saints really don't have a quarterback. So I'm not sure if moving on from Matt Ryan would be the smart move for the Falcons anyways, because they want to make the playoffs. Now, it wouldn't be smart for them short term, but long term, it would make sense. Obviously, Matt Ryan's getting up there. He's coming off of a down year. He did lose Calvin Ridley, which is a legitimate reason, but there there are a lot of questions about the ceiling for the roster of the Atlanta Falcons to make any kind of playoff push. We're now waiting on 2 people here. Let me do some adjustments as well to the board, just so it's easier for me to take a look at. Okay, good. Okay, excellent. Well, if you haven't joined UnderDog Fantasy already, make sure that you have downloaded the UnderDog Fantasy app by going to the App Store or Google Play Store. You can use the promo code FFF for a first-time deposit match of up to $100. And that code supports our podcast. We get a little bit of kickback because of the affiliation, and we really want to continue to put out good content for you. And so taking advantage of these, if you haven't downloaded the UnderDog Fantasy app, make sure that you do, and we look forward and are grateful for your support for the podcast. We're waiting on one more person. It is almost 11:40 p.m. the night before the Super Bowl, so it may take another minute or so for the next person to come in. These drafts usually don't take too long to fill at this point. But looking at the board, it seems Travis Kelce is going to be the first tight end going off the board, but he's fallen now to pick 15 or so. Okay, we are waiting, and we have this room filled. Excellent. So the draft is starting in 60 seconds. I have the third pick, and we'll see who comes to me. Are there any players that I've seen before? Yes, I was inverted. I've seen before. That's the only one I've seen, I think, in my recollection of those I'm drafting against. This is the first time I believe I'm actually at the third hole as well, maybe the second time. But yeah, we'll get started in about 20 seconds. Obviously, if Jonathan Taylor or Christian McCaffrey fall to me there, I would like that. I may end up taking Austin Eckler over Cooper Kupp just so that I can get the running back double stack at the beginning. But I've been really liking the running back values later on in the draft, and passing up the likes of Cooper Kupp or Jamar Chase in the first round is just going to be so hard to do. And I don't know if I have much Kupp exposure so far. Yeah, I've only drafted Kupp in one of the drafts so far. And someone took Cooper Kupp 1.01 and then Jonathan Taylor at 1.02. So I will take Christian McCaffrey at 1.03. Excellent. Okay, so I said it was going to be hard to pass up Cooper Kupp, and the 1.01 just couldn't do it. Yeah, there's a lot of excitement about Kupp and the breakfast narrative that surrounded him and Matthew Stafford going into the season. We were really excited. I said that Stafford and Lombardi, all of them were going to be able to support, top tier finishes, but I wasn't sure if, Stafford was going to get the ceiling. That was my concern, is that Stafford was not get the ceiling, and his connection with Kupp was immediate. It was actionable. Okay, so we've seen in the first round here, Cooper Kupp go first. Jonathan Taylor, I took Christian McCaffrey at 1.03, Austin Eckler at 1.4, Derrick Henry at the 5 spot, Jamar Chase at the 1.6, Dalvin Cook at 1.7, Justin Jefferson at the 1.8, Najee Harris at the 1.9, Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams at 10 and 11. We're waiting now at the turn. And Travis Kelce at the turn at the 1.12. And the first pick of the second round, we'll wait and see. Stephon Diggs. Good luck getting the Josh Allen stack there, Trev. Okay, so looking here, hit him hard has gone 2 wide receivers so far. No surprises really, other than Travis Kelce getting drafted at the turn. Yeah, that's if you really want to go tight end aggressive there. Stephon Diggs has gone a little bit higher than I've seen. I've seen him go more of like the 20th, 21st pick overall. That was a little aggressive. I wonder what kind of drafter Trev is. I'm interested to see how that's going to play out for him. Okay, so it goes Javonte Williams at the 2.3, Joe Mixon at the 2.4, Mike Fest 0712 has gone Justin Jefferson and AJ Brown. We see a Josh Allen sighting at the 2.6. That's pretty early for Josh Allen. The consensus quarterback 1 now, usurping Patrick Mahomes, and I think rightly so. I think there's lost weapons and aged weapons behind Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. They themselves aging. And now I'm up and I'm staring down, Alvin Kamara, CD Lamb, DK Metcalf. And I don't want Alvin Kamara. DK Metcalf, I just drafted last night. I am pretty interested in Let's go with Cam Akers here. I like Cam Akers at the back end of the second round. I probably could have waited to get him at the third, but I didn't. I mean, I'll let Alvin Kamara continue to take his slide here. Cam Akers, I'm really bullish on for next year. I think the ADPs are going to continue to rise. And wow, all right, we see Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley. I've drafted a lot of T Higgins so far, but I can't get away from T Higgins in looking at what that offense in Cincinnati is and can continue to be. I mean, we saw Jamar Chase have a sensational season, a record-setting season for the Bengals, and T Higgins in the second half of the season ended up running almost the same types of routes that Tyler Boyd was, plus some of the go routes as well. So that's why we saw a lot of success from T Higgins in the second half of the season. I think it's completely wheels up for T Higgins. The Cincinnati Bengals have two alphas on their team. Wow, Alvin Kamara has fallen past the 3.5, past the 3.6. The free fall is real. Okay. So just to give an update for the listeners, I went Cam Akers at the 210 after CeeDee Lamb and Nick Chubb went at the 2.8 and 2.9. DK Metcalf at the 2.11. DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan Allen at the 2.3 turn. Mark Andrews went 3.2. He was who I was hoping to take at the 3.3, but instead I took T Higgins. And then Jalen Waddle at the 3.4. Saquon Barkley at the 3.5, Antonio Gibson at the 3.6, Darren Waller at the 3.7, and then the free fall finally ended for Alvin Kamara at the 3.8. I'm sure Mike Fest 0712 was just elated that he has Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, and Alvin Kamara in that lineup. We see David Montgomery, Patrick Mahomes now go off at the 3.9 and 3.10. Oh, man. Deontay Johnson at the 3.11 and the 3.12 here. We saw some not very optimal picks. Oh, we continue to see not optimal picks from Trev at the 3.12. Kyle Pitts. At the 3.12. Travis Kelce is already there. And if you haven't played the big board yet, you only start one tight end and then you flex one, and it's not tight end premium. So picking a second tight end in the first 4 picks is extremely suboptimal. Okay. This is why we call it Midnight Madness, because donkey moves like that get accomplished. Yeah. So Calvin Ridley also at the 4.1. We don't know what's going on. There's a lot of ambiguity, and there's been no update about Calvin Ridley. I mentioned before that the Atlanta Falcons would like to have him, but I don't think that that's going to be within the range of outcomes for them. Aaron Jones goes off at the 4.2. DJ Moore at the 4.3. George Kittle at the 4.4. Terry McLaurin at the 4.5. Elijah Mitchell at the 4.6. This draft is moving very fast. So I've got 3 picks, and I'm looking ahead, and Mike Evans goes off the board. J.K. Dobbins is just hanging out there. Oh, man, I'm really tempted by J.K. Dobbins. I really don't want to draft Amari Cooper. I think at 45 that's not that's a suboptimal pick. But now I'm probably going to get. I don't have any J.K. Dobbins. It would be really great if I could get him here, but I probably won't. Just speaking it into existence. Ezekiel Elliott drafted the 4.9. I was able to get him mid-5th round last night. J.K. Dobbins here is, I think, my first share of Dobbins, and now I'm set for a while at running back. I can just take some shots later. But in 3 picks, I'm still going to be pretty happy with some of the wide receivers that are probably going to fall to me here. I mean, in 2 picks, 1 pick, Tyler Lockett is someone that I'm looking at, and I get Tyler Lockett. Oh, yes, there we go. This draft is turning out very well. Midnight Madness is in full swing here because we saw well, since my last pick, I'll tell you Mike Evans, Amari Cooper went off the board. I was so happy. I think Amari Cooper, he was barely able to get a little over 20% target share. He's suffered a lot of injuries, many of which have tendencies to recur. The Dallas Cowboys are going to be 20 plus million over the cap. And I don't have the cap figure number in front of me for Amari Cooper, but I'm sure that the Cowboys are going to look for some way to get rid of him. Ezekiel Elliott went in the 4-9. I mentioned yesterday that I was able to get Zeke at like the mid-fifth round. I took J.K. Dobbins. He should be fully back for next year. And he may Gus Edwards is back there as well, but Gus Edwards is also coming off of an ACL. J.K. Dobbins, they have more vested interest in. He's younger, and we've seen a lot of good things happen from Dobbins in the limited work that he had back a year and a half ago. Lamar Jackson went off the board at the 4-11. Damian Harris and Leonard Fournette at the 4-12 and 5-1. Elijah Moore at the 5-2, and Tyler Lockett I took at the 5-3. Then we go Herbert, Pittman, Amon-Ra St. Brown at the 5-6. Chris Godwin, who had a late season ACL tear, goes to the 5-7. I just can't come around to drafting Chris Godwin this in any of the best ball tournaments here. Okay. Just because it's the late ACL, Tom Brady's moved away now. You just don't know what that offense is going to look like, even when Godwin makes a return. Devonta Smith, 5'8", Travis Etienne at the 5'9", Michael Thomas at the 5'10". While I think news came out today that Michael Thomas should be returning to the Saints, I still think the 5'10" is pretty risky. We don't know what the quarterback situation is going to be like in New Orleans. He's now 2 years removed from doing anything of meaning. There's just a lot of concerns on that front. Lots of ambiguity. Maybe it's a miss on my part, but I'm probably not going to get a lot of Michael Thomas. Marquise Hollywood Brown, Mike Williams at the turn, along with Darnell Mooney at the turn, the 5'12 and 6'1. Hunter Renfrow at the 6'2. Gabriel Davis keeps sneaking into the mid to early 6th round at the 6'3. Joe Burrow at the 6'4. Jerry Jeudy at the 6'5. Kyler Murray at the 6'6, Dallas Goedert 6'7, Brandon Cooks at the 6'8. And now I'm one pick away, and based on who I'm looking at, I would really like to get Odell Beckham here as my third wide receiver. There are significant rumors that he will be returning to LA, and he's played well. So I'll be targeting Matthew Stafford in a few rounds here as my quarterback. And I'm filling out my wide receiver and running back core pretty nicely. I've got some upside. I've got some youth. I've got some veteran presence in my wide receiver core. I'm one pick away here. And I'm also I'm not in a position to take, to really stretch myself on Stafford. He's the quarterback 11. I'll probably wait a little bit. Breece Hall comes off the board. And, I'm not really interested in any tight ends here. I'm looking, and Michael Carter's ADP 63, and I'm getting him at 75. That's just too good of a value to pass up for a player who, when he was on the field, was a running back too. So I just couldn't pass it up. There was such a tier break, and there's not really much of the stacks that I'm looking at. Burrow's already off the board. Russell Wilson, is going after Matthew Stafford. So maybe I look to pair Stafford or Wilson, but I'm probably going to hit some wide receivers here shortly. now that I've got my running back core pretty set. Yeah, Adam Thielen is someone. I know I'm 13 picks away, so I mean, there's been some real. Oh, there's a quarterback run here. All right, Dak Prescott, Trey Lance, Aaron Rodgers, Adam Thielen goes off the board. I don't see any double. Oh, yeah, someone drafted Josh Allen and Kyler Murray, so that's suboptimal. As I said, this is an advantage, staying up later and picking with some suboptimal picks. Double quarterbacks in the first 6 rounds, 2 tight ends in the first 3 rounds. These are just some real donkey moves made, and like, look, I know that you're hedging like tight ends, but TJ Hawkinson and Dawson Knox, I guess if you just don't want to pick tight ends the rest of the way, that might be your move. But I feel like there was so much more value on the board than using all of it right there on tight end. Okay. So looking again here at some of the other picks. At the 7-3, I went Michael Carter. 7-4, Treylon Burks goes off the board. That's actually one of the latest I've seen Treylon Burks. I've seen him go as high as 50 overall. Dak Prescott at 7-5, Trey Lance 7-6, Singletary at 7-7, Rodgers at the 7-8, Adam Thielen at the 7-9, Clyde Edwards-Helaire at the 7-10, Jalen Hurts at the 7-11, Garrett Wilson, Kenneth Walker at the 7-12, 8-1 turn, James Conner, Kadarius Toney, A.J. Dillon, Cortland Sutton, Robert Woods. So here I see I'm 2 picks away. I would really like to get... Well, this is my Stafford pick because I already have Akers and I already have Beckham. So I'm going to go Stafford, and Claypool was already taken off. I was interested in maybe getting another wide receiver, but Stafford's right there. And I also am looking, and I see that there's kind of a tier break as well. If Dalton Schultz stays on for me, I would like to get Dalton Schultz. If not, I'll look for maybe Justin Fields to just pair with Matthew Stafford. Fields, a higher end, higher upside type quarterback that I am comfortable drafting. And I think with a new head coach and new play calling, that might be pretty valuable fantasy-wise. Dalton Schultz does go off the board, so I'm going to probably pivot away from tight end for right now. We see running backs, and I'll probably go with Juju Smith-Schuster here because I do need some wide receivers. And Juju's a free agent, and I don't know where he's going to go, but maybe he re-signs with Pittsburgh and things turn out well, or he goes somewhere else. There's been rumors of the Buffalo Bills. If the Bills don't re-sign Cole Beasley or Emmanuel Sanders retires, that would be a wheels-up situation for sure. And, of course, Justin Fields goes off the board right after my pick there. Okay. All right. I didn't even get a chance to draft Pat Freiermuth. He went off the board. So now I am without tight ends, so I'll probably have to take, two tight ends here coming up shortly because of the difference of the tier breaks. But I'm looking at my running back squad, and I'm pretty happy with it. I'm looking at my quarterback situation, and Stafford is, he's rock solid. I don't have the tight end, but I have 4 wide receivers that I'm pretty confident will be top 36 wide receivers no matter what on a weekly basis. I'm happy with T. Higgins. I'm happy with Tyler Lockett. And I've stacked Odell with Stafford, and Juju Smith-Schuster's there as well. So looking here at who's remaining on the board, I might be interested in getting Noah Fant, drafting him here if he comes to me. I am 9 picks away, so parsing that out, maybe Melvin Gordon is there. Kirk Cousins, Zach Ertz, Will Fuller might be available for me. Noah Fant goes off the board, so he's not going to be there. Cordarrelle Patterson was drafted in the 9th round as well. And just to give an update to our listeners, I went Matthew Stafford at the 8-10. Allen Robinson went at the 8-11. Schultz, Wilson, Freiermuth, and then back to me, I picked Juju. I mentioned Justin Fields, Miles Sanders, Isaiah Spiller, Tony Pollard. There was a running back run. Tyler Boyd, and then 3 more running backs go off the board. Ramondre Stevenson, Cordarrelle Patterson, Rashad Penny, Corey Davis at the turn, Noah Fant, Rondell Moore, Christian Kirk, Mike Gesicki, Chris Olave. Now I'm just a couple picks away. And I'm looking at some tight end options here. I'm really liking Cole Kmet, and I don't think I want to wait. I'd rather take Cole Kmet. He was 7th in among all tight ends in targets with 93 last year, and I think that's only going to go up with Allen Robinson moving on and better play calling and better offensive schemes for the Chicago Bears. I think Cole Kmet is a solid bet here. Solid bet for Kmet. Okay. I'm also interested in maybe pairing Higbee, but that can wait, probably until next round, not this particular pick. I'm looking at the rest of my wide receiver core, and DJ Chark should be, available and free. I haven't pulled the trigger. I was made an offer in one of my dynasty leagues where I could get Will Fuller, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it for Will Fuller, who is now William Fuller on UnderDog. I just couldn't do it for Will Fuller. I felt like Fuller just phased away. Like, he only had surgery on his finger 5 days ago. 5 days ago. I need some wide receiver help, so I'm going DJ Chark. As I said, I'm very happy with how things are shaping up so far. I'm probably going to have to hit on another tight end, maybe Higbee here in the next round, just so I can also stack with Stafford. But and maybe another quarterback as well. That's what I'm looking for in these next couple picks. Okay, so I went Juju Smith-Schuster in the 9th round. Fields, Kareem Hunt, we hit on all of those. Zach Ertz went at the 10-8. Michael Gallup in the 10-9. I went Cole Kmet at the 10-10. Jacoby Myers, Hunter Henry, Deshaun Watson at the 11-1. Melvin Gordon at the 11-2. He got picked at the 122nd pick. What a value for Melvin Gordon. DJ Chark at 123. Will Fuller went off right after that. Russell Gage, my 2 year ago preseason love, Russell Gage, still fantasy relevant. David Bell at the 11-6. Gronk at the 11-7. That's the earliest I've seen Gronk. I mean, the rumors have been just circulating that Gronk would be willing to join the Cincinnati Bengals if Joe Burrow asked him to. Seiji Uzama is a free agent at the end of the season. This makes sense, I suppose. Gronk still showed that he had a lot left in the tank, and Tom Brady is retired. Kyron Williams at the 11-8. Kirk Cousins, Chase Edmonds, Mecole Hardman, up through the 11-9, the 11-10, 11-11. Okay. Cool. So, looking at how some of the trends have been going, any other donkey moves that I'm going to notice here? I see that Sit Down, Don't Fumbles already drafted 5 running backs through 11 rounds. That's a little too rich for my blood. I mean, unless you went super wide receiver heavy, and Sit Down, Don't Fumble only went 3 straight running backs to start, and then went pretty much 0 wide receivers. Wide receiver 1 was Adam Thielen. You just can't be confident. If Adam Thielen is your wide receiver 1, Can't do it. And Tyler Boyd's your wide receiver 2. So he'll be rolling out Christian Kirk, Tyler Boyd, and Adam Thielen as his wide receivers, and 3 of either Najee Harris, Joe Mixon, David Montgomery, Travis Etienne. I just don't think that's a good build looking at how it was set up. Yeah, yikes. I just don't like that build. Oh, and BD Zeus went 3 tight ends. Those are some bad moves. 4 tight ends because I also went Hunter Henry. Man, oh man, these ends are killing me. Oh, really closing out the door on this tight end spot. I'm 1 pick away. Let me see. Higbee did go off the board. Gosh darn it. Okay. Van Jefferson is there. I'll probably take Van Jefferson. LA Rams stack. Oh, I just got sniped in the 12th round. Billy be very proud. Okay, looking at the rest of this, it's a bunch of garbage. No, it's not garbage, but I'll probably go Derek Carr. I do want to have another solid quarterback here. I wasn't a fan of a lot of the other options at this point in the draft. And I said I still wanted a quarterback and tight end. I probably will go that route. I'm just not really excited about, there were a lot of teardrops and looking at the board, BD Zeus drafted TJ Hawkinson, Dawson Knox, Dalton Schultz, and Hunter Henry. So, you just can't win them all, I suppose. The tight end thirst is just so great. And James Robinson, who we don't know if is going to be active for next year, even with the Achilles injury. Look, great things happen with Cam Akers. I guess James Robinson needs to get Cam Akers' trainer on the phone to figure out what was going on. But, maybe at this point I can take a running back. Gus Edwards with J.K. Dobbins there. Maybe that would be a move. So we went Zach Wilson there. I'll take Gus Edwards, as a 5th running back. And I think I'm pretty set at running back here. I'll probably go dart tight end the rest of the way and some wide receivers. So I'm going to probably exclusively draft some wide receivers and tight ends the rest of the way. So I'll just leave it like that. Devontae Parker off the board after Gus Edwards. CJ Uzama is a free agent, as I mentioned. KJ Osborne had his flash moments. Looking as well at some of the other picks here. I'm just seeing if there's any other real mistake picks that I'm looking through and just shake my head. I don't understand. I mean, I guess Deshaun Watson. I feel bad picking on BD Zeus 32, but Deshaun Watson, has like top 5 upside, but so does Russell Wilson. You're essentially getting 2 of the same type of player, whereas if I were drafting, I would want like a solid, that's why I was even contemplating drafting Matthew Stafford with Deshaun Watson, because Stafford, is going to be a mid to low QB1 with that connection with Cooper Kupp. But I was hoping that Justin Fields, I wanted wide receiver there. I was hoping Justin Fields would have come back around to me, but this draft has been real wonky, and I'm just not a fan of some of the drafters who have made their presence very well known in this draft already. So I'll probably draft. I'll go wide receiver here pretty heavy, because I have now a 2-5-5-1 build. Capital has 8 wide receivers drafted so far. So let's take a look at Capital's team. CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Waddle, Treylon Burks, Chase Claypool, Michael Gallup, Will Fuller, Van Jefferson. I'm so ticked. He didn't need Van Jefferson. He just wanted to snipe me. I was so ticked. Maybe did I snipe him? Yeah, I did. I sniped Cole Kmet from him. That's probably why he's ticked off. Oh, that explains everything. he drafted Justin Fields and he wanted Cole Kmet on the way back, and he didn't. He ended up not getting Darnell Mooney either. But man, oh man, this makes sense now. This makes sense why I was sniped. Okay, yeah, capital goes Robbie Anderson. I'm looking at the wide receivers and tight ends, and Evan Ingram is staring at me as a value. I feel like it's going to be an auto pick, Evan Ingram, in the 14th round, in the 15th round. Just auto pick. I maybe Isaiah McKenzie has some intrigue, but next up, I'm gonna probably want to stretch myself and get Braxton Berrios. New York Jets are interested in re-signing Braxton Berrios. Berrios said he's open to that as well. So we'll see if anything develops. But Jamison Crowder's probably gone. Elijah Moore is going to play on the outside. He played the majority of snaps on the outside and was very successful doing so. Corey Davis opposite Elijah Moore. And then in the slot, Braxton Berrios. Shout out to Roto Underworld. I believe it was Cody Carpentier and Josh Larkey working on this project, talking about players who get separation. And Braxton Berrios is among the leaders in separation. And that just sets yourself up well for fantasy points and the quarterback being comfortable. Second year with Zach Wilson. Braxton Berrios is a smash in the 15th round, especially since I need some wide receivers. Okay. So Higgins, Lockett, Beckham, Juju, DJ Chark, Braxton Berrios. I have Cole Kmet and Evan Ingram at tight end. McCaffrey, Akers, Dobbins, Michael Carter, Gus Edwards at running back, and Matthew Stafford and Derek Carr so far at quarterback. Okay. I'm really excited about this draft. I was able to do a little bit of stacking. And I'm kind of disappointed that Khalil Herbert didn't come back to me after I drafted Gus Edwards. I probably should have gone Khalil Herbert there, but you know, there was a chance that he would have come back. It was pretty good. So it just didn't work out. But I like Khalil Herbert. He showed out this past season in relief of David Montgomery and exceeded him in almost every rushing category, efficiency rushing category. So I wouldn't be surprised with the new coaching staff that Khalil Herbert maybe gets more love. It was a bonehead, in my opinion, a bonehead play to not draft him or not play him enough after what he did in relief of David Montgomery. All right. So looking at Trev. So Trev is the one I called out at the beginning of this draft because he drafted Pitts and Kelce. Trev has 8 wide receivers: Diggs, Ridley, Mike Williams, Darnell Mooney, Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, Jameson Williams, and Marvin Jones. Lots of upside, lots of downside there. I'm just not happy that all of these tight ends kept getting sniped from me. I mean, I was able to make some value happen with running back at the beginning because of it. But man, oh man, I'm probably going to have to go David Njoku later on here. I'm 5 picks away, and Njoku is there available for me right now. So we'll see if David Njoku makes it to me. All right. Shameless plug time, UnderdogFantasy.com. Make sure you check out their app, download it, use the promo code FFF for up to $100 first-time deposit match. It's a great deal. Support our podcast by using the promo code and also enjoy yourself on Underdog. It's a lot of fun drafting at this time of the year. Or you can use it for pick'ems, or you can use it for other sports as well. But we're going to be doing a lot of Underdog drafts, best ball drafts, and David Njoku just went off. Oh man, heartbroken right there. All these tight ends. Ugh. Oh man, it just keep getting sniped on tight end. This is ridiculous. Okay. We're gonna just look at wide receivers here. And Cole Beasley is interesting to me, but Zay Jones, I know there's a little stretch for Zay Jones, but Brian Edwards is the ADP that's a little higher. So I'm going to draft Brian Edwards and probably come back around to Zay Jones so I can do the Derek Carr stackety stack. Zay Jones was actually the target leader of the Las Vegas Raiders at the end of the season. So I hope that I don't get sniped. A good thing that this is not recorded live. I mean, it is recorded live, but I'm not streaming it on the YouTube channel. So no one can at least snipe me that way. But man, oh man. I've just been sniped left and right in this draft, and the tight ends have been squeezed. Squeezed, I say. I tell you what, this is a lot of fun. Just navigating the ridiculousness that some of these drafters are doing here now. It's 12:15 in the morning. Uh, it's so exciting doing drafts like this. I really encourage you to not only draft on Underdog Fantasy, but draft at different times of the day. You'll get a different crowd, a different feel. The players will fly off the board earlier or later. It's a lot of fun when you're throwing some misdirections on Underdog. I'm like today we see someone drafting how many tight ends? Oh, I'm going to take Zay Jones here. There we go. But how many tight ends? We have someone who drafted. Oh, where is it? 3, 2, 2. No. Someone drafted 3, 4 tight ends. We have, BD Zeus drafted 4 tight ends. So, yikes. Okay. Giving a little update. So, we saw, as I mentioned, Evan Ingram I took at the 14-10, 14-11, Nico Collins. I'm just going to run through the board real quick. Daniel Jones, Kenneth Gainwell, Donovan Peoples-Jones. I took Braxton Berrios in the 15th round, then Chris Carson, Marcus Callaway, Chuba Hubbard, Jalen Tolbert, Jerick McKinnon, Isaiah McKenzie, Byron Pringle, Carson Wentz, Malik Willis, and Matt Ryan at the 15-16 turn. We already saw Trevor Lawrence go off the board as the quarterback one for Trev. So just full throttle ridiculousness. Okay, Jameis Winston, Wendell Robinson, Sterling Shepard started out the 16th round, followed by Raheem Mostert, Ty Algier, David Njoku, Gerald Everett, Dan Arnold, and then I was hoping to take a tight end at that point, but Brian Edwards I took because of Derek Carr earlier, Terrace Marshall, Myles Gaskin, Marquez Valdez-Scantling at the 16-17 turn, Brevin Jordan, Zay Jones I took as the Vegas Raiders stack, Allen Robinson, Cole Beasley, Jared Goff, Darrell Henderson, KJ Hamler, Justin Ross, Keyshawn Vaughn, Justin Jackson, Nyheim Hines, Brian Robinson, Jamal Williams, Brian Robinson, Nyheim Hines, the 17-18 turn, Jamal Williams, Jalen Guyton, Sky Moore, and we're all caught up to Paris Campbell at the 18-5. Sony Michel is still out there. Donta Foreman is still out there. For wide receivers, Jamison Crowder is still out there. Jawan Jennings, Quez Watkins, who is also one of the Roto Underworld top separators. He's definitely a target for me as well. Okay. And I am at a 2-5-8-2 build. Yeah, I'd like to take another tight end here sometime. Maybe Albert OK is my last pick or something like that. But I'll take Christian Watson at the advice of Todd. one of Billy's draft partners. He came on our podcast last year. Lots of fun having Todd on, and it was actually an interesting episode. Go back and watch it when he came on. You can see that on the Fantasy Data YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to the Fantasy Data YouTube channel, you should do that. Go to youtube.com/fantasy data NFL, and you should be able to find a lot of our work, Billy and my work on there. Some videos, drafts, analysis, buy or sells, takeaways, all of those things. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun at this time of the year. Yeah, it's been really great. So if you've stuck with me this long, really appreciate it. We've got just a couple rounds left. We're now into starting the 19th round. I went Christian Watson. We saw Sony Michel, Donta Foreman go off the board. And I think there's an auto pick by BD Zeus. Zamir White is the pick, the auto pick. And I am on the board looking at some wide receiver help I could use as well. And Quez Watkins played admirably, 43 receptions, 62 targets, 647 receiving yards. I'm going to go with Quez Watkins. And then I'll probably take a third tight end. I mean, there's no point in me really taking another quarterback here. My running back group is pretty set. I mean, it's Christian McCaffrey, it's Cam Akers, and maybe J.K. Dobbins, Michael Carter, maybe. But I think I'm just going to open this up, put Albert O, Akwugbanam in my queue, and let it ride. And hopefully Albert OK makes it my way. That's the type of rhyming you'll get. At 12:20 in the morning, but that's part of the midnight madness. You get to see some of these ridiculous builds, try to take advantage of the edges that are happening, and Albert O goes off the board already. Well, that was short-lived. Dernis Johnson goes off the board. Maybe I take Austin Hooper, maybe Kylan Granson. Hooper, as we mentioned in one of the previous pods, he's not going anywhere. Kylan Granson will probably be the starting tight end in Indy next year. And looking later, maybe Hunter Long would be interesting. Don't know what is going to happen with Gesicki. Other than that, yeah, maybe I'll throw him there as well. Hunter Long, he's a deep cut. But, you know, I'm all about those deep cuts. I picked out Robert Tonyan a couple years ago. That was a lot of fun. Same with Russell Gage. Eli Mitchell I hit on. I was extremely high on Jamar Chase. He was my wide receiver 13 coming into this season. So, yeah, some of the deep cuts and some of the ceiling plays I was able to hit on. And so if you really like some of those calls or you want to get more into it, definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're looking to continue to grow it. There's already a lot of growth that's been happening, but go over to YouTube, turn on your notifications, and we'll be getting a lot of content out for you, both Billy and myself, either individually or together. And we'll have a lot of guests on this this off season. I'm really looking forward to having a lot of our guests on, various players in the industry coming on, giving their advice, giving their thoughts. And yeah, I'm really grateful for your time and your support. And if you want to check out our Patreon as well, Fantasy Football Fanalists, you can get some services there that we provide. We review drafts. We can help you with a game day advice, access to us pretty directly. We can get you some swag if you're a big supporter of the podcast. We're just grateful for you tuning in, and we've got some of the best rankings. Billy and I both had a number one weekly finish in the Fantasy Pros accuracy contest this season, and between the two of us, we had 7 top 10 finishes on the season. So we really do put in a lot of work into our rankings, make sure that those are rock solid for you, as accurate as they can possibly be. I did go Austin Hooper here, and yeah, so definitely check us out, Fantasy Pros accuracy rankings. We'll be putting our best ball rankings up in a couple weeks, and we'll have regular podcasts on those rankings as well. Make sure to check all the good things out. And yeah, we're now at the end of the draft. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. One last recap of how my team shaped out tonight. I took at the 1-3 Christian McCaffrey, took Cam Akers at the 2-10, T Higgins at there we go. Let's go back to completed. Big board. And I went my two quarterbacks, Matthew Stafford, Derek Carr. View full draft, not right now. Let's click on the waffle. So Christian McCaffrey at the 1-3, Cam Akers at the 2-10, T Higgins I selected in the third round. I came back around to J.K. Dobbins at the 4-10, Tyler Lockett at the 5-3, Odell Beckham at the 6-10, Michael Carter at the 7-3. It was just such an egregious loss of ADP. I couldn't pass up taking Michael Carter there. Then Matthew Stafford, Juju Smith-Schuster, Cole Kmet at the 10-10, DJ Chark, Derek Carr, Gus Edwards, Evan Engram, Braxton Berrios, Brian Edwards, Zay Jones, Christian Watson, Quez Watkins, and Austin Hooper. And I finished with a 2-5-10-3 build. So a little fragile at quarterback, but two solid starters, I think, in my opinion. And I got some stackable pieces with both of those. I did get sniped by Capital on Van Jefferson attempt, but nevertheless, thank you everyone for tuning in. Once again, check out UnderDogFantasy.com, the mobile app, and use the promo code FFF for a first-time deposit up to $100 match. And we'll see you once again on the Best Ball streets. Have a good night and good luck. Enjoy the Super Bowl.